He was a man who just went through some awful stuff along with people around him, but they made it because of this concept of plugging into a bigger meaning.
Hello, and welcome to this week's episode of the Tiff and Tony Show. Hello, everybody. Welcome back. Tony, welcome. How are you doing today?
I am doing wonderful. Thank you very much. It's cold today. Here in Southern California, it's one of those rare cold days, and I'm cold. How are you doing?
I'm good. I'm actually in Sedona, Arizona, which is, for one, just a beautiful place, and the weather today is just lovely. It's been kind of chilly here too, but I'm trying to toughen myself up for cold weather anyway, so it's actually beautiful outside today. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah. Sedona is on my bucket list of places to go visit.
Highly recommended. Keep it on your bucket list and come when you can.
Cool.
The Red Rocks are incredible. Well, let's dive into our topic for today. Last week, if those of you who are watching remember, or if you haven't watched last week, go ahead and watch it, and then you can come back and watch this one. But we talked about self-awareness, and we want to connect last week to this week because we had talked about that being self-aware, knowing yourself, knowing where you're at in life now can help you reach your future goals, and it can help you do things bigger than yourself, right? Because we also talked about the fact that the world doesn't revolve around us as a singular human. We're surrounded by living creatures. We're surrounded by other humans living their lives, and our entire world revolves around our interconnectedness, right? And so I'm going to pass it off to you, Tony, because we are going to talk about finding meaning in things that are bigger than ourselves. And I know that you want to quote some things from Viktor Frankl's Man's Search for Meaning book that can help us kind of provide a framework for this conversation. So take it away.
Yes. So thank you for that. Yeah. Viktor Frankl's book, Man's Search for Meaning, is a book that I read a while ago, and it is life-changing. It changed my whole perspective on life, how I show up, what I do. And so just to give you a background, Viktor Frankl grew up in Europe during World War II and went through the concentration camps. And it's not necessarily about his journey through the concentration camp. It's just about how he managed to go through that journey of a concentration camp. And you needed something bigger than yourself to get through something like that. And as soon as you started to reflect in on you, then that's when things started to go wrong. He was a man who just went through some awful stuff along with people around him, but they made it because of this concept of plugging into a bigger meaning. And he had three kind of key areas for his formula. I'm going to read it right here. And formula part one was take action on creating a work or performing a deed, right? So that's when you wake up every morning and you know you've got something to do, right? You're going to take action. Then it gives you a driving force into the day. And I think that sense of I'm going to accomplish this today helps. Experience something or encounter someone that you find captivating, that pulls you out of yourself. And so we could look at nature, we could look at art, we could look at someone that does that for us, right? That time where you look at a tree and just go, wow, look at red rocks. Just think of the red rocks of Sedona that you are around. When you look at that, it gives you awe. And that awe and wonder of it is what brings you out of yourself, that can help you find that meaning. And then his third one is having an optimistic attitude towards the inevitable challenges and suffering you will experience in life. And I love how he's finished
that one again,
actually.
Read that one again. Yeah.
Have an optimistic attitude toward the inevitable challenges and suffering you will experience in life. And I love how he's wrapped that up into, think about it, he's in a concentration camp. There are some awful things happening every single hour of every single day in those camps. And yet he's talking about having an optimistic attitude within those arenas. And I love that, because we all face challenges. Every single day you will wake up and face a challenge. And I think that by looking at it, we can reframe how we look at these challenges. We can redeem, right? These things that have happened to us. We could sit here and share stories about all of the sadness that we've experienced in our life, but we can also look at that and redeem that little tragedy and figure out how it's made me the person I am today, and figure out all of the good qualities that have come out of that. And I think having those three concepts in mind help us find meaning in this world. Meaning happens in motion, right? You've got to be moving forward to find meaning. And as soon as I stagnate, as soon as I sit still, then suddenly life around me becomes boring. And I love this idea of a challenge. Is life boring, or are you boring in the life, right?
Uh-huh.
And it's a tough challenge to take on, but if you look at it and reframe it like that, then you can sit there and instead of wallowing in this victimhood or villain mentality, you can actually come out of that and say, no, I want to be the hero of my story, which means I've got to step out of myself. Finding awe and beauty in what's around us helps us do that. Knowing that I'm going to wake up this morning and help change a kid's life helps me do that, right? And then seeing the optimistic side on all of this stuff that's going on around me, where I could go, oh God, this is overwhelming, helps me step out and beyond. So this idea of self-awareness, we know where we are, we might know where we're going, but now we're equipping ourselves with the tools to get there. These three kind of, this framework of three ideologies will help us drive through all of that. What do you think? What's your thoughts on that?
So as you were sharing and elaborating on those three different concepts, three words popped into my mind. So the first one, I thought of purpose. What he says is basically finding purpose in your day, which does take you out of yourself, because it's like, oh, I can't just think about all these things that are going on in my head, or the pain and struggle I'm experiencing. It's like, no, I need a purpose so I can keep moving. And then the second one was inspiration. So find inspiration outside of yourself, which will build on that purpose you have, that can give you some motivation to keep moving forward. And the last one was perspective, because that optimistic attitude about what you're experiencing is really just a different perspective. So instead of wallowing in your sorrow, which, side note, we're not saying to not feel your feelings. This is not at all to invalidate the emotional process, because that is 100% healthy. It's the being able to still move forward in your life, even when you're feeling and experiencing really challenging things. So having this perspective of an optimistic attitude can 100% change the outcome of our day. It's this idea that life has meaning. There's another book of his that he wrote right after the war and after he was released. It's actually called Yes to Life. And there's a quote in there that says that we as humans go through life with this question: what can I expect from life? And when you think about it, when you ask that question, what can I expect from life, that means I'm sitting waiting for life to happen to me. And he says, but we should ask a different question. And the question he asks is, what does life expect from me? Now, that actually then steps you into, again, action taking. It takes you into movement, because now I've got to think, well, what does life expect from me? Okay, that draws me into a purpose and meaning. And now I can take action on that. Well, one of the keys that I want us, the audience, to hear is this: you're going to go through stages of creating a sense of meaning, a project that you're going to work on, and you're going to complete the project. And then once that project is done, it's like sitting in a movie theater watching the credits roll. Now what? Right? And if you just sit there in the now what, you are now going to go back to that original question: what can I expect from life? What can I expect to happen now? The key here is to immediately start something new that draws you out of yourself again,
start a new story, get a new story going immediately, and constantly be looking for life to be that kind of, how do I engage in this in a way that helps me, helps those around me, gives me a sense of awe about what's going on, right? And gives me this optimistic view that doesn't matter about the challenge, it matters about how we move on from this.
So I think our challenge for today can be, what is the meaning, that the bigger meaning outside of yourself that you're going to pursue today? What is it? And it can be, you can have multiple. You can have something that's the bigger thing for today. You can have the bigger goal for the week. You can have a month. You can have a year. You can have 5 years. Whatever works for you. Big dreams, small dreams, but what will get you outside of yourself, something bigger that, like Tony said, will help you and help those around you. And
take note of it, write it down, right? Write that down. My objective is to create a story around PureGame that captures people's hearts and imagination, that delights people about what we're doing with the kids here in Orange County. That's my meaning right now, and that's what I'm doing on a daily basis. That's an example as to what you can do. Would a vision board help you? Would journaling help you? You know, maybe you have a big mirror in your bathroom, or maybe your closet doors have those mirrors and you can get dry erase markers and literally start a vision board, and the top will say meaning, and underneath it are all your brainstorms of, okay, what is meaning that gets me outside of myself? Talk about it with people. I love the challenge of asking our listeners to think about what will take them outside of themselves. Yes. Right. What's something that will give them meaning? How can they then be optimistic with the challenges that will come up to keep them going? Well, I think that's a great place to end. Thank you so much. We will see everyone right back here next week. Thank you very much. Bye. Thank you so much for joining Tony and me in this week's episode of the Tiff and Tony Show. We hope you feel encouraged and motivated to keep growing with us. If you like what we do here at PureGame, one of the best ways you can support us is by liking and sharing this video with your friends on social media. You can also subscribe to our YouTube channel using the button directly below this video on YouTube, and you can donate at our website, www.thepuregame.org. And with that, we'll see you right back here next week.